streaming, and we are recording, and I think
Therefore,
looks like we're live, so I think we're good. All right, here we go. Yeah. Welcome to the Lovecraft Tapes. I am Jeremy, your keeper of arcane lore, and we play Call of Cthulhu, a horror role-playing game based upon the fictional works of H.P. Lovecraft. Your investigators of the unknown are Matt, as Private Detective Dan Williams.
The man who asks why you clear your driveway of 5 inches of snow in the middle of a snowstorm has never had to clear 10 inches of snow at the end of said snowstorm.
So true. Truer words were never spoken. Brian, as Special Agent Jack Whiteside.
I don't like snow, so I'm just going to stay under the blankets.
And Gabe, as Special Agent Roy Arroyo.
Do you get it? It's snowing where we're recording this.
Indoors.
Dead giveaway. Well, yeah, you poor bastards on that side of the state. Getting socked.
Oh, 10 inches.
Oh, excuse me?
Zip.
Damn, it's snowing.
Oh.
Melts in your mouth.
Not in your hand.
Well, guys, today's question is, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'm ashamed of the things that I would do for a Klondike bar.
What do you want me to do, Daddy?
I've killed 37 people for just one Klondike bar before.
Well,
Only 37? Those are rookie numbers, man. You got to pump those numbers up.
I would have
10
done
inches.
more if I was asked to do more, but I wasn't.
because they were all dead. Well, actually, Gabe, you were the closest. The answer actually was flay the skin off my kneecaps, fry it up with some nice goat butter, then feed it to a random hobo in a dark alley.
Oh, I should have guessed.
That's meant,
always
though.
the answer.
Alrighty then, let's check the mailbag for any letters from beyond.
From beyond.
On Facebook, Joshua Lowen says, "Love the podcast. I run COC and has inspired me to set my next campaign in a modern setting. I just caught up and am looking forward to more." Thanks, Josh. And Jody Gordon says, "Just wanted to drop a quick message to you guys. I stumbled upon your podcast last summer and have been slowly listening to you since then. I am up to September of last year, and you just wrapped up the My Life string. I am loving everything you guys do. I have stolen a few ideas of how you have your sessions set up for your own gaming sessions, for my own gaming sessions. Specifically, the recap from each character and the rule highlight at the beginning of each session. Keep up the good work, guys."
Nice.
We're going to need some royalties on that.
Yeah, there's no borrowing. Come on. Really. And Daniel Ivey on Facebook says, "Hey, just wanted to say I've been listening to your podcast for the last week at work. Y'all are the first podcast to actually grab my attention. I'm not sure how y'all ain't more popular. I've been going through a fair amount of hell these last few days, and your podcast made a world of difference for my stress. I about died twice today. Once was from ice on the road. The other was listening to Roy deal with his 11 kids. So thanks for brightening my day."
Nice. That's great.
I don't think he has 11
Luckily,
kids.
we didn't break you yet.
Yet. All right, on Reddit, we had a few little mentions here from Naiad Naturalist. "Hearing you guys mention and discuss my comment made my day. Also, I can't remember the last time I gasped and yelled no while listening to a podcast."
Deja vu.
Right? Who? Theos Chaos says, "Just caught up. Excited for more." And our good buddy Scott Dorward said regarding episode 41.1, "Fantastic stuff. I love these little interludes. This one was especially creepy." And Bite of Pear regarding episode 41 says, "Love the nod to Menards this week. Hashtag still not sponsored. Like any Midwestern folk, I got that infamous jingle stuck in my head, so I revamped it. Feel free to use, just hand me a kudos. Not a Molotov, nor a signed copy of my life. Keep up the crazy cool job, guys." And here's his jingle that he revamped, which you, as we all Midwesterners would know, he says, "Who cares it's a bit rusty, bloody. Get your projects, victims, running when you buy at Bernard's."
Bernard.
That's the best I could do. And finally on Reddit, Wyckoff H1 says, I love this podcast. I am a longtime TAZ listener. I'm not sure what that is. This is my new favorite real play podcast, hands down. I listen to it all the time now. I might be addicted. And on Twitter, How We Roll Podcast at HWR Podcast says, now I can't even say his name. Lovecraft lovers and Cthulhu cultists, if you're missing hashtag Call of Cthulhu actual play and can't wait until our upcoming secret releases, I've been enjoying the Lovecraft Tapes.
Yes.
So appreciate that shout out from a fellow podcast.
Thank you.
Also on Twitter, Chris C at Chris C _715 regarding episode 42.1. Really like this interlude. Could feel the cold, dark depths pressing in on me. Alone at the bottom of the sea.
Nice. Wow, that's good.
Richard Rolls at Mr. _Drachtier. That's probably completely wrong. Regarding also episode 42.1. What a trippy and well-written tale. When does the children's book come out?
We're working on the publishing deal right now.
We got to get the rhyming down.
And, we have to sign a contract with a bunch of frogs on a log. So.
Yeah.
That Cowboy says, just discovered your podcast and I've been binging it. Oh, there we go. Just discovered your podcast and I've been binging it on the way to and from work and when cooking. So far, 10 episodes in, 3 days, and I'm loving it. Makes me wish I was still playing the game.
Really?
Play. Nothing's stopping you.
Really?
Says the man with a full calendar.
We got Ghost Gabe in there again. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I resized that window. All right. And finally on Twitter, Nigel Mong at Nigel Mong says, Hell House is my fave Lovecraft Tapes chapter so far. Great chemistry between PCs, great NPCs, and nice detective work. So appreciate all those.
Just me yelling in frustration most of the time.
That was much of
it. What the hell's going on and where am I?
What do you mean
Why is everybody dead?
Get up! Quit bleeding!
Dan, you're still healthy. Jump in that doorway.
Hit the face with glass, hit in the face with hammer, shot with...
So thank you very much for those letters from Beyond. At any time, you can feel free to Twitter us at Lovecraft Tapes.
Whoa.
Or something like that.
Nobody's gonna Twitter me.
At Lovecraft Tapes. You can also check us out on Facebook, and if you on Reddit, we have a Reddit too, subreddit. And also, if you like, join us on our Discord server. There's should be a link on our website. And feel free to come on and chat with other fans. So I think, gosh, how many people do we got on there now? About a dozen or so?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's always nice to chat. All right. It is time. Let's level up.
Yay!
So go ahead and open up your development cheat sheet. You should see cheat sheet development phase. And we're going to go through these one at a time. We're going to start with Matt and Dan. And I'll open up Danny boy. Where is you, boy?
What up?
There he is. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is check your skill checks. So you're going to roll D100 for each skill check, and you can just roll the dice next to it if you want. And basically, if you get over, but not equal to, you're going to increase that skill by 1d10. So let's go start with, what do you got? Fighting Brawl there is your first one, Matt?
Yep.
So you need over a 70.
I finally successfully hit someone with my fists.
Mm-hmm. So
and that would be a new. I needed a 71 or more, and I rolled a 51.
So go ahead and uncheck that. And let's move along to language.
It's weird because it's inverted for actual rolls, so I actually have to fail to succeed.
Exactly. You can
God
do
damn
it. Come on, fail.
This is where all my luck from the last episode of the last scenario went. Now I'm passing.
You're usually
everything.
so good at failing.
I know, right? That's why I was excited. I needed a 41 plus, and I rolled a 33.
Whoa. All right.
On to my listen skill, which is currently at a 61. Woohoo!
Yay,
I rolled a 99. There it is.
All right, so you're going to roll a d10 and increase that puppy.
Where's my D10?
See, he is a bad listener.
Hey, that's 9 more points on
Hot damn
to
tamale. Holy shit.
Gives me 70 points in listening.
Ooh,
Nice.
that makes sense for a private detective.
Yeah.
And finally, a spot hidden.
I need a 59 plus, and I rolled an 82, so I do get more spot hidden.
All right, D10 that sucker.
And that's a 10.
Nice.
Holy macaroni.
Dang, that's a good jump.
No kidding.
That's like
I only
80,
had 2
80
successes, but my
points.
2 successes were really nice successes.
Righto. All right, so currently I have you at 62 out of 66 sanity.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, self-help is not going to be an option at this point because we're basically going to launch in directly from the previous thing. So you won't really have... Well, actually, you know what? That's incorrect. So what we're going to do is take a look at your key connection. So your key connection was gunshots. And essentially what we need to determine as a group is whether or not you have done anything in the previous scenario to alleviate that or confront that or...
I got shot
Yeah, he got shot. So
and
he
survived.
confronted it.
He stopped me from shooting a lot of people.
That too. I did stop Roy and Aaron from shooting quite a few people.
All
I
right.
wonder why Aaron would shoot people. Maybe the
Well-
problem isn't the characters.
Okay, so do we all agree that probably his key connection was met?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds like that's the consensus. So you're going to go ahead and make a sanity roll. And if it's equal or under your sanity, 62,
And I rolled a 33.
then you're going to
Which
add
is-
D6 to your sanity.
Cool, I get sanity
It
points
says
back.
2d6. Is that wrong?
It does not say 2D6. It says 1D6.
Is it, and I get 3 points back.
There you
which
go.
puts
Oh,
me
I'm
at
sorry.
65.
Yeah.
Nice. 65 out of
60.
66. Awesome.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah,
It says if the skill attains 90% or more,
that's
add 2d6.
for skill check.
Okay, but he rolled. Didn't he get a 99? Does that count as the 90%, or am I misunderstanding that?
No, 90% as in 90 points.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. And sanity is not a skill check, so we're on that second section now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So recover luck. Go ahead and roll D100 or make a luck roll. And basically you want to, if you get over your current luck, you can add D10.
I did not.
Oh,
Push
too
the
bad.
wall.
By 1 point.
So close.
And we're going to skip the credit rating thing. I don't think that's going to be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the training I was thinking of, which requires 4 months of study or school that we're also going to have to skip. So we're all done with you, Dan. Let's go ahead and move on to Jack.
Yeah.
Jacker. So we'll start with your skillies. And your first one is firearms. Because you shot a bunch of
Firearms.
mofos.
Firearms.
So roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yay, I failed.
Well, did you get over?
Yeah.
He did.
Okay. So what did you roll? Tell us what you did.
I needed a 50. I rolled a 55,
Awesome.
which has me fail, which makes me succeed because I failed.
Right.
So now roll a d10.
So you're going to roll
Games.
a D10.
Oh, D10, not D100. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Un momento, por favor. I got a 9.
Sweet. So bump that up to 59 and uncheck that box. And then move on to listen.
Nice.
Need a 41 or more.
41 or more.
41.
Yay! I needed a 41 or more, and I got an 81.
Yay! So roll D10.
9.
So you're up to 49. Uncheck that box.
I'd like to apologize, guys, because all my good rolls will be gone.
This means when I level up my skills, if I get past it, I'm gonna get like a 1.
Okay, cool. And then we're on spot hidden. Did you bump that up to 49?
I did. Did it not take? Oh, I didn't hit enter. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Spot hidden. Need a 71 or more.
All right, I got this. I don't got this. I needed a 71 or more. I rolled a 7.
Ugh. All right, uncheck
you
that.
won.
That'll stay
You
the
can
I'm
same.
going
see
to add 80 to
everything.
my score.
And finally, track. You need a 51 or more.
I did not get it. I need a 51 or more. I got a 29.
All right, let's move on down to your key connection. And I see fear of open spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, what do we think? Did Jack do anything to challenge that key connection in this past
There wasn't
scenario?
a whole lot of frolicking through open fields.
No, I stuck to the tree line too, so that would have been made. It probably would have worked against me in that aspect. Instead of walking through the field, I stuck inside the tree line.
So he's even more afraid of open space.
Agoraphobia is a bitch.
All right, well, your current sanity is 77 out of 80, so you're not exactly hurting, so we're going to go ahead and skip through that. And also, we're going to go ahead and do a luck roll. So go ahead and make yourself a luck roll, or roll D100, and you want to get over 33.
All right. I got an 89.
Nice. So you're going to go ahead and roll D10,
All right.
and you're going to add that to your luck.
2.
So 35. That's
It's not bad.
better than no luck at all, right?
That's right.
All right, well, that's going to take care of you, sir.
Thank you.
And let's move on to Roy.
Okay, so my first one's firearms.
Sweet.
I need to get over a 21. I got a 35.
Cool. So go ahead and increase that baby. D10.
I increase it by 4.
Nice.
24. And make sure to uncheck that box, and we'll move on.
The next I have a persuade. I need a 51 or more. I got a 20, so that's a fail.
Okay.
And then my final one is spot hidden. I need a 71 or more. And a 61. Can I spend the luck?
And then roll it to get it back in a minute.
If only. If only. All right, so that'll take care of that skill, puppy. Let's look at your key connection. Fear of frogs. Guys?
We didn't really encounter frogs, did we?
Not really. There was one instance where you drove past a pond of frogs, and Roy did recoil in horror.
Yeah.
That's about all there was, honestly. So I'm thinking we're probably going to skip that. Currently, he's at 64 out of 68 sanity, so right about the same as Dan. So
Okay.
Not too terrible, but not great as well. All right, let's go ahead and recover luck. So roll D100. You want over a 21.
Okay. D100. I see.
D-Hondo.
I got an 8.
That's not over. So no more luck for you. You're going to stay at 21. And that's going to do it.
At least you're still legal drinking age.
Right. So
No,
we're all
not
set
for
with
you.
development.
I think
You
that means I
only-
have the highest luck at 52.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Do you
Right.
only increase sanity when you resolve your key connection? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the key connection is something that you should keep in mind at the beginning of each scenario.
I'm trying to work on it.
Right. And you can sort of move towards it. Now, we said basically that Dan had resolved his key connection to a certain point. So Dan, what I need you to do, Matt and Dan, is to think about what occurred in Hell House and what may have affected you the most. And is there anything that happened that could replace that key connection of gunshots that you would strive towards this time around that may be different? Since we think that the gunshots thing is relatively resolved, and I think even the last two scenarios sort of bear that out. So if we think about what occurred in Hell House,
Tools.
is there
I'm now deathly afraid of attics
Claw hammers. He's terrified of claw hammers.
right?
and glass in general. You know.
Right.
And
Well,
being shot.
Yeah, I mean that's those are things to consider. Like the attic thing was creepy. You did get a little skeeved out with what was it, Eva, who's dressed up like a little devil.
Oh, yeah.
Like prancing around. Trying to think what else.
What about clairvoyance? Because she knew what he was,
Can I toss something
that
out
he was
there?
afraid.
With my life and
Books.
this one, books. In the Hell House, I was thinking more along the lines of suicide.
Ooh.
Right? There's just something.
Yeah.
They were both
Something
suicide. Yeah, yeah.
Like that to me, that sort of sticks out like a sore thumb because there
That
was
could be
quite a
good.
lot of it.
Sore thumbs, he means.
Right. And so like if we presented that as a key connection for you, then when faced with that situation, you would have to work towards it or against it. And keep in mind the key connection thing is, if you were to maybe the next time you see a dead body that they had killed themselves or whatever, you would have to make a roll of some sort, maybe a sanity roll or something along those lines to help get you to that point. You could also maybe spend some time when there is downtime, volunteering for a suicide hotline. Like your character could do those sorts of things. So just keep that in mind for role-playing hooks. And as we go forward, you can think about that. But if you like that, then go ahead and change your key connection from gunshots to suicide, and we can sort of, work towards that.
Are we able to have more than one key connection?
I don't think so. You can.
Well,
yeah.
I feel in the terms of character building, it would be helpful to add something about fire to Roy.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I guess
replace the frogs
I
thing
don't
with
disagree
fire.
with that.
Yeah, frogs on fire.
Fiery frogs.
Frogs that spit fire. Okay.
Frogs legs. Oh.
Yeah, I guess you make a good argument. So yeah, go ahead and toss fire on there.
I mean, don't toss fire on.
Toss
there,
fire on the
but
frogs.
Put fire on you.
Firebolt, firebolt, firebolt.
Intermission.
So, and I assume Jack is content with his fear of open spaces.
I'm gonna work on it.
Trying to.
I'm gonna work on
You
some
gotta
me
work
time.
on your agoraphobia, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm not agoraphobic. I just don't like to be outside.
Just
He's afraid of gore.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along,
He's afraid of
guys.
Al Gore.
Now that we're fun and happy with the key connections, you will notice in the players folder that I have added a note for each of you. It says keeper notes for Dan, keeper notes for Roy, and keeper notes for Jack.
Okay.
These are little messages that only you have access to. And I've already included some interesting tidbits for you to read and absorb and act upon. So this can be used to send me notes if you want. I'd say use it sparingly in that sense, but if you do have something that's really eating you up, then go ahead and toss it in there. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to use it as just a means of giving you some motivation, your character some motivation, and we'll see how this works. Okay?
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. Well, guess what time it is, guys?
Peanut butter jelly time?
8:23.
It's time to pay the bills. Let's take a quick commercial break. And we're back.
Got the skills to pay the bills.
So
It's
that
not
check
really
is coming
worth-
in when?
Yeah, it's not really worth the payment to have to play that.
Yeah, I still don't get why we have to pay for those commercials. Shouldn't they pay us for those commercials?
Well, yeah, but we pay in Scooby Snacks.
It's like an exposure thing, Ryan.
Okay.
It's
I
an
expose
exposure.
myself all the time, but I don't get paid. What?
No, you
But you have a webcam.
That's
What
right.
more do
Well,
you
no.
need?
Well, when I expose myself, I often have to pay to do it. Heavy fines.
Oh, there you go. I don't
Who's
get
heavy
paid.
fines and why are you paying him?
It's a horrible rapper's name.
All right, now, dear investigators, we begin. Chapter 6, The Big Uneasy. Previously on the Lovecraft Tapes. The investigation into the death of Kelly Landrum in Leland, Texas is finished. Something evil dwelled under the old Angerstein House, its dread influence sapping the will of anyone who ventured inside the structure. First Kelly, then Don Eller's suicide, and finally the victims of Kevin Cho were enough to feed the creature until it could break free and wreak havoc on the populace. Somehow, Roy arrived just in time to invoke an ancient spell that brought down the beast and destroyed the haunted house. It is the following day. All 3 investigators have been escorted by the FBI back to headquarters, where they have been sequestered from each other. At this stage, I'm going to need Brian and Gabe to pop out their headphones. We'll give you a thumbs up when it's safe to put them back in.
Oh, right. Thank God, now that they're gone, we can really start talking.
Dan, you're sitting in a nondescript concrete interrogation room at a small table. Excuse me, let me start over. You're sitting in a nondescript concrete interrogation room at a small metal table with nothing on it. One wall has a large mirror. The door opens and a man in a black suit enters. He appears to be quite pale, perhaps in his early 40s, clean-shaven, dark eyes. Under one arm is a yellow legal pad. He approaches, shakes your hand, and introduces himself as he sits across from you. I'm Agent Akeley, Mr. Williams. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the occurrences in Leland, Texas. May I call you Dan?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. If it makes it any easier on me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Dan, I'm going to need you to make 2 rolls. The first roll is psychology.
That's a good one. Holy shit! Oh, that was persuade, not psychology. My bad. I clicked the wrong button. Damn! There goes one of my good rolls. That's better. I needed a 10 and I rolled a 78.
All right. So he seems to be very up and up, very businesslike, very formal. And I would also like you to make a spot hidden, please.
Skill bump, don't fail me now. Damn it, skill bump, you failed me. I rolled a 100.
Ooh, that is a fumble, essentially.
Yep.
All right. So what you notice is that he has very nice handwriting as he scrawls on the legal pad. And he seems like you just get a really nice vibe from him. Like he seems like a really upstanding, he has a warmth in his voice, and he just seems to be a man with kind eyes. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so he sits down and starts jotting on the legal pad. He says, in your own words, please tell me what happened last night.
Well, we knew there was something wrong with that house. Everything we had seen up until that point indicated that there was something either in the house or around the house that was causing these odd phenomena of people going crazy. There were strange accidents. And we figured out that it all happened to be centered in the attic. So we figured, go back to the house, go up into the attic, and maybe we'd find the source of the disturbance there. And then we got to the attic, or we got to the house, and that's when things got really weird. I remember seeing words on a chalkboard, and instead of just staying there, they kind of came off the chalkboard and started swirling around, and they attached themselves to me. And
how do you mean?
Like it looked like someone had written the word fire on the chalkboard, and it was almost like stop motion animation, where it looks like it's moving, but it's not really moving. And then it came off the chalkboard and it attached itself to my clothing. It's hard to, if someone had, if it's like if I had pushed my back against it, and when you pull away, you have like that imprint of what was in chalk on your clothing. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like that, I guess. And then I blacked out.
Just stop you right there.
Okay.
Just a quick question. I'm sorry. Just trying to get my ducks in a row here. Had you had anything to drink that day? Alcohol? Or any medication?
God, no. I was just coming off of. I just got out of a hospital. I was.
Okay. Had they given you any medication?
Nothing past ibuprofen. I mean, patched me up and sent me out. Kind of sad I didn't get any of the good stuff, you know?
Okay. All right. I understand. Please continue.
So I blacked out, and when I came to, I was in the attic with Officer Martinez, one of the local police officers, and Agent Whiteside. And there was shadows, or a shadow-like substance, I guess, moving around on the walls. And then Agent Whiteside pulled out what appeared to be a pocket watch and clicked it, and that seemed to have agitated it. And that's when we heard gunshots coming from the school shooting room.
And that is the parlor, right?
Yeah, what the parlor was. And at first we didn't think much of it because, school shooting room. We figured they were blanks. And then we noticed that people were, running and shoving and pushing to get out. So we went down to investigate, and we saw people were bleeding, and this wasn't, blanks. People were actually getting shot. So in an attempt to kind of pincer maneuver the shooter, I attempted to get past the open door, and when I did, I caught a bullet in my lower abdomen, and that pretty much took me out. I ended up ripping off a piece of my shirt and using it as like a bandage, just to hold the bleeding off. And when we went outside, there was this really big thing that had like come up out of the ground, and it was part house, part like weird shadow. It was hard to describe. And the police were there, and they were shooting at it, and the pastor was there, and he was holding up a cross and saying things, and then it started bending down and grabbing people, and then just tossing them back like they were.
And this was the shadow.
Yeah, the giant shadow monster that had come out of the house.
I see.
Started tossing people back like they were chips on game day. The pastor stepped forward with his Bible and his cross, and he was saying things out of the Bible, and it took him. And that's when Agent Arroyo showed up, and he was fine, which is strange considering he had been hit with a Molotov cocktail not too long ago, and we were told he was in intensive care in a burn ward over in Dallas. But that wasn't really the weirdest part of this, because when he opened his mouth, it wasn't him talking. It was my ex-fiance.
Ex-fiance?
Possibly ex-fiance. She said she wanted to talk about things, and we haven't really gotten around to that yet. So, and she said she wanted to talk to me. I apparently left her a drunk voicemail, which she was not too happy about. And she said some words through Roy, and it caused the shadow thing to shriek and then disappear.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That's
no problem.
Interesting story. Let me see here. I got another question. What do you know about an antique photograph recovered from the Angerstein House?
Photograph. Oh, yeah. Prior to all this happening, a couple of days before, I had made my way into the attic, just on a preliminary recon, class in the joint. And I saw this photograph, and it stood out to me because it had a family crest on the back. The Angerstein family crest, the people who used to own the house, and me thinking that maybe there would be some sort of hint as to what happened to cause this weird stuff to start happening, because I don't know if you know, but I do some private investigating myself, and I have seen
I see that here.
Weird things before, and my prior experiences told me that if there's something there, you can usually find something about it in the past. So I like to do a lot of digging into the history of places where I go and kind of get a good background. So I figured this photograph would be a good place to start, but I don't know, it didn't really do a lot of help. We went to the library, and I couldn't really find much of anything.
Okay, all right. All right. One final question. When was the last time you saw your fiance, Samantha Blane?
Oh, that would be the day that we hopped on the jet to come down to Leland. She was in the study reading over some weird books. I said, hey, I'm going out of town. She said, please don't bother me. I'm reading. And I packed a bag and left.
I see. Okay. After you've given your answers, Agent Akeley stands up abruptly. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Williams. I'll be back if I have any other questions for you.
Cool.
He leaves the tiny room. After several minutes, armed guards enter and escort you back to holding quarters. Not quite a cell, but not quite a hotel room either. There is a bed and a bathroom, but no TV or phone.
So it's a Motel 6. Got it.
Your luggage has been brought here, though your weapons and mobile phone are missing. Meals are brought to your room by the same armed guards. Simple, healthy dishes, no doubt prepared in a cafeteria in this building. You try to sleep despite the nightmares. The next morning, the guards escort you back to the interrogation room, where Akeley awakes with more questions, variations on the ones that came before. This routine continues for a full week. You're not allowed contact with anyone else during this time. Finally, your phone and weapons are returned. The guards will escort you to the parking lot, Akeley announces. A car is waiting outside to take you home. I must advise you to refrain from speaking about this incident or the occurrences in Texas, at least for the time being. Good luck, Mr. Williams, and welcome back to Arkham. All right, go ahead and pop yours out.
I don't think he's looking.
He's looking. Hello.
Are we recording a podcast?
Yeah, we are. All right, you ready?
I suppose so.
Both. Jack, you're sitting in a nondescript concrete interrogation room at a small metal table with nothing on it.
You can't handle the truth.
One wall has a large mirror. The door opens and a man in a dark suit enters. He appears to be...
Got to text Matt.
That's weird. Okay. The door opens and a man in a dark suit enters.
Hold on one second.
Is that you texting him?
No, that's Matt's video game. Jesus Christ.
All right. Jesus. Okay. I think he's turned it off.
Hey, Matt, mute your game.
Or mute your mic, actually. Okay, anyways. Ready?
I'm ready, but... Jesus Christ. Okay, now I'm ready.
All right. The door opens and a man in a dark suit enters. He appears to be quite pale, perhaps in his late 30s, clean-shaven, black eyes. Under one arm is a yellow legal pad. He approaches, shakes your hand, and introduces himself as he sits across from you. I'm Agent Akeley, Mr. Whiteside, and I'd like to ask you a few questions about the occurrences in Leland, Texas. May I call you Jack?
Yeah, you can call me Jack.
Thank you. Jack, I need you to make 2 rolls.
Can we let him know that his mic is still unmuted?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's not looking. Please mute your microphone.
There we go. All right.
Please see previous text message.
All right. Anyways, let's get rolling here.
Okay.
Jack, I need you to make 2 rolls. The first one is psychology, please.
All right. Let me find it. Oh, this ought to be great. I needed a 10.
Mm-hmm.
A 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a 31.
31. Okay. So he seems to be like, pretty well put together agent, much like yourself. But he seems to be very serious. His eyes are just very serious. Okay? The second roll I need you to make is a spot hidden.
Okay. I needed a 70. And I rolled a 100.
Okay. So he seems to be, I don't know, you're getting a vibe of that he seems to be like very upper crust in the FBI. Maybe he outranks you by at least a couple clicks, if not more.
All right.
He might even be a director.
Oh.
So you kind of get a nervous feeling.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So he says, well, I just have a few questions here for you, Agent. In your own words, please tell me what happened last night.
Oh, boy. Where do I begin? Just last night. You don't need me to elaborate on the investigation?
No, not at this time. I'm just really curious to know what transpired last night at the house.
We went to the house to retrieve an item that may have been suspect. We weren't sure, but we wanted to get it out of the house so we could inspect it better. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yes, I am.
In the process of coming down the stairs, we heard shooting. Drew my weapon, and we proceeded down the stairs where we saw the person in question. He was randomly shooting at people. So I discharged my firearm.
Mm-hmm.
We proceeded to bring Dan Williams out to the ambulance because he was hit with one of the bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I saw Roy Arroyo. And he addressed me directly. And that's pretty much it.
So what did Matt say on his text?
I don't think he's responded.
He said, see my text.
No, he says that to his phone, so it reads it to him. We can hear your video game through your headset.
Mute your mic.
I told him that. He hasn't muted anything.
Yeah.
Or just sit there like Gabe does. Okay, let's try to keep going, I guess.
Yeah, okay, good.
Whew.
All right, is that all you got for that question?
Mm-hmm, that is correct.
All right. What do you know about the antique mirror recovered from the Angerstein House?
I really have no information. As soon as I discovered it, I had it shipped out. I'm not sure where they shipped it to, but Skinner wanted it right away so they could investigate.
All right. Well, that does bring me to my last question.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you saw Assistant Director Sharon Skinner?
Oh, boy. That was right before we left to head on down here.
You are aware that she is missing?
I am not aware.
I see.
Well, I got a response from her text stating that all the paperwork would be in order for us to continue our investigation. But there was a long lull in between communication where I could not get a hold of her.
And when did you receive that last communication?
I believe I received that. Boy, I don't have the exact date, but I believe it was on a Saturday, if I recall, stating that the paperwork would be in the sheriff's hands by Monday morning. Because we were just getting stonewalled left and right.
I understand. Okay. After you've given your answers, Agent Akeley stands up abruptly. Thank you for your cooperation, Agent Whiteside. I'll be back if I have any other questions for you. He leaves He leaves the tiny room. After several minutes, armed guards enter and escort you to holding quarters. It is not exactly a jail cell, but not exactly a room at the Four Seasons either. There is a bed and a bathroom, but no TV or phone. Your luggage has been brought here, though weapons and mobile phone are missing. Meals are brought to your room by the same armed guards, simple, healthy dishes prepared in the cafeteria on the second floor. You try to sleep despite intense nightmares of slithering shadow serpents. The next morning, the guards escort you back to the interrogation room where Akeley awaits with more questions, variations on the ones he's asked previously. This routine continues for a full week. You're not allowed contact with anyone else during this time. Finally, your phone and weapons are returned. The guards will escort you outside, Akeley announces. We have a car waiting to take you home. You are officially on leave and will be notified once the investigation is concluded to our satisfaction. I must advise you to refrain from speaking about this incident or the occurrences in Texas, at least for the time being. Take care, Mr. Whiteside, and welcome back to Arkham.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead and pop yours out, and we'll get Gabe on board here.
Oh, man.
All right. Hi, Gabe.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Let's see. Fumbles. I'm gonna try and buck that trend.
Yeah, no shit, right? And we're having an issue with Matt's game leaking through. He's not muting his microphone for some reason. Anyway, so we'll try to work through that. All right, you ready, buddy?
Yeah.
Here we go. Roy, you're sitting in a nondescript concrete interrogation room at a small metal table with nothing on it. One wall has a large mirror. The door opens, and a man in a dark gray suit enters. He appears to be quite pale, perhaps in his mid-50s, clean-shaven with black eyes. Under one arm is a yellow legal pad. He approaches, shakes your hand, and introduces himself as he sits across from you. I'm Agent Akeley, Mr. Arroyo, and I'd like to ask you a few questions about the occurrences in Leland, Texas. May I call you Roy?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I got a lot of names, but that's one of them.
Thank you. And he sits down. At this stage, I'm going to need you to make 2 rolls. The first one is psychology.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. So I need a 10. I got a 33, and that's a fail.
All right. He seems to be very hard in his tone. His voice seems to be very businesslike and very serious. And the second thing I'm going to need you to do is roll a spot hidden.
Okay. I need a 70. I got a 41. That's a success.
You notice something very odd about his fingers as he scrawls on the legal pad. They look very smooth, as if they belong to a younger man. He takes a breath and says, Mr. Arroyo, in your own words, please tell me what happened last night.
Well, I didn't see a whole lot of it. I didn't get there till the end, but it seems to me that after a whole lot of cover-ups and a whole lot of dicks running a terrible city, there seemed to be some kind of a big monster attack that went down, and it took me to save everybody.
I see. Can you explain your miraculous recovery from the life-threatening wounds you received from the fire in the jail cell?
I've always been a fast healer.
Really? That's incredibly fast. From what I understand, you were in critical condition?
Yeah, I might have been for a while. I don't really remember a lot of it.
What do you remember?
Well, I seem to remember being offered a pie that I have yet to receive, and then hearing a voice, doing some screaming, everything got a little hot, and the next thing I know, I'm in a hospital dreaming some things, and then I'm showing up at the monster scene.
Now, this voice you speak of, did you recognize it?
Might have been Kid Canada's, but I could be wrong. That's the doctor.
I see. Kid Canada. All right. Well, I do have one final question for you, Mr. Arroyo. When was the last time you saw Officer Bugsy Ciccarelli?
Well, got to be right before we came to Leland.
And he seemed okay?
Yeah, he's always a little weird. He's a weird dude, but nothing out of the ordinary for him.
I see. You are aware that he is missing?
I did not know that, no.
Okay. Well, I understand the two of you were close.
Yeah, he's my best friend, so I'd hope so.
I see. Well, after you've given your answers, Agent Akeley stands up abruptly. Thank you for your cooperation, Agent Arroyo. I'll be back if I have any other questions for you. He leaves the tiny room. Yes?
You're going to find him and let me know, right?
Yes, that is our intent.
All right. If you need any more help finding him, just let me know.
He leaves the tiny room. After several minutes, armed guards enter and escort you to holding quarters. It's not necessarily a holding tank, but not precisely a suite at a fancy hotel either. There is a bed and a bathroom, but no TV or phone. Your luggage has been brought here, though weapons and mobile phone are missing. Meals are brought to your room by the same armed guards, simple, healthy dishes prepared in the cafeteria on the second floor. When you sleep, it is the sleep of the dead, dreamless. The next morning, the guards escort you back to the interrogation room where Akeley awaits with more questions, variations on the ones he's asked previously. This routine continues for a full week. You're not allowed contact with anyone else during this time. Finally, your phone and weapons are returned. The guards will escort you outside, Akeley announces. We have a car waiting to take you home. You are officially on leave and will be notified once the investigation is concluded to our satisfaction. I must advise you to refrain from speaking about this incident or the occurrences in Texas, at least for the time being. Godspeed, Mr. Arroyo, and welcome back to Arkham. All right, everybody can have their headphones in. Let's give them thumbs up. See if we can get Matt's attention. That'll be the... Matt, over here. Look over here. Whippoorwill.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
Well, hi, Matt.
Wait, he's not unmuted yet. You did it! You're a big kid now.
You back, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, didn't hear you. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this thing. Dan, you exit FBI headquarters to see a black SUV idling just outside the entry.
Ominous.
The driver bustles toward you and takes your luggage to the rear of the truck, tosses it in, then opens the passenger door for you to climb inside.
Chivalrous.
This is one of the better Ubers I've ever had.
XL.
Oh, I'm going to hop into the back of the SUV.
As you do so, you see that two people are already there. It is Roy and Jack, and they look about as haggard as you feel.
Excuse me, I believe I called an Uber for just me. What are they doing here?
Ugh.
And as you are driven toward your destinations, why don't you go ahead and catch up a little bit?
Excuse me. Do you have any Grey Poupon?
So, did you guys enjoy staying at the Motel 6 underneath the FBI headquarters as much as I did?
Oh boy, that was definitely a trying experience. How'd you guys make out?
There wasn't even any screen doors.
I know. It was tough.
I mean, at least the guy who was interviewing us seemed nice enough.
Nah, he was
Yeah.
probably a dick.
Not like me and Brian both rolled 100s on our spot hidden. Oh, wait, we did.
Wait. Yeah.
What are the odds?
That was extremely interesting. Why don't we go get some food, maybe, and catch up a little bit there in a public area?
You afraid they're going to disappear us if we talk about it inside the car?
Well, now I'm not. Oh, the driver just jumped out and we're going off a cliff. Son of a bitch.
Just to interject, it's probably best to catch up in the SUV because each of you is driven to different destinations.
Oh,
and I'm quite sure that Roy's going to want to get back to his family.
No.
Why?
I was going to say, why would Roy want to get back to 11 kids?
Too
I
many
mean,
kids.
it is entertaining podcasting.
Too many kids.
but other than that-
Too many kids.
Well, what kind of questions did they ask you, Roy?
Oh, well, they asked me about how I recovered so fast, which I really didn't know, and they told me that Bugsy's missing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not
So,
Bugsy.
Pretty
At
worried
least you
about
still
that.
have Petunia.
Did
And
they
also the guy who was interviewing me had baby hands.
really?
You were interviewed by Donald Trump?
Yeah.
You were? I wasn't.
Oh, man.
Did they give you any information about Skinner?
No. I
Really?
was asked pretty much the same things over and over again.
Really?
Yeah, same here. Mostly variations on the whole "what happened" question and "what do you mean there was a giant shadow creature?" And
There was a shadow creature? I peel off the mask and I'm the interviewer. Ha-ha! Da-da-da-da.
what a twist!
Well, I got a little bit of information. I didn't give out too much, but I gleamed a little bit. Skinner has been missing for a while.
Your boss lady just
That is correct.
okay.
She's like
then.
my 8th best friend. What the heck?
I have a feeling that there's a little bit more to the story than they're letting on, obviously.
Well, I mean, who would guess the FBI is holding secrets? So
Dan.
unlike them, they're so transparent and open
Probably
about
the
everything.
NSA.
Oh, my bad.
Dan,
Yeah.
is anyone you care about missing?
I mean, not that I know of. I mean,
Well,
Sam did the
'cause-
weird thing through you, and
Yeah.
other than that,
What happened?
Well-
What's the last thing you remember?
I remember the last we got in this car and we've been talking for a while.
Huh.
hmm.
Roy, what's the last thing you remember?
That what I just said.
What'd
I
you
remember when I told you that we've gotten in this car, and that's the last thing I remember.
When you were in the hospital is what I was referring to.
Well, I remember hearing Kid Canada's voice, but it might not have been him. I was pretty loopy, and basically beyond that, the last thing I remember is getting to the scene, being awesome, and warding out that monster.
You remember that?
Yeah, but
Do you remember you speaking those words?
I don't really remember anything other than being there.
Okay.
Because you sounded an awful lot like Sam.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
You did not sound like yourself. I know that much. I did not. I've never met Sam, so.
All
Well,
I'm
I
saying
have.
is, all I'm saying is my best friend's missing. Jack, the only person you give a crap about is the only person who gives a crap about you is missing.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2. So, Dan, you might want to make some contact with whoever you care about.
Well, we'll see if she's in the study when we get back to Blane Manor later.
All right. Well, let's definitely touch base after maybe a day or two.
Works for me. I'd
Okay.
give you a card, but I don't have a card.
Roy, what do you remember last?
All right. Each of you has driven home and dropped off one by one in Arkham. Please briefly describe your homecoming. And we'll start with... I want to start with Roy first because I think that's the best one.
Do we have the time?
We do.
Yeah.
And this will be briefly, though. Just briefly.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so as I get out of the car, hold on. Give me a sec. I gotta pull up the names list.
Okay.
Okay. As I get out of the car, Rigby and Raid are fighting on the lawn and see me, and those little losers try and hug me, but I hit them in the shoulder to make sure that they curb that behavior. And as I enter the house, Greta is crying and sleeping on the couch, but she's crying in her sleep again like she usually does. And it's pretty obvious to me that Rhonda's been pretty terrible over the last few days. I mean, I don't know what she's been doing, but I mean, it's Rhonda. Of course, she's been terrible. Raymond is, of course, sitting at the kitchen table doing his homework like a good kid that I raised, and Greta raised the other 10. And then I can hear freaking Ricky, Robbie, Rhodey, and Raleigh making all that noise, which I don't understand how they can be making noise when they can't even hear or walk or anything. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But then as it becomes fairly clear that no one cares that I'm back, I go up to my room, sit in my chair, and put on Sports Center.
Nice. All right.
Copyright
so
strike.
the SUV pulls away and proceeds towards Jack's destination. Go ahead and as when he drops you off, it's getting to be dusk.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and briefly describe your homecoming.
Well, I walk up to my condo, open up the doors, pick up the mail from the slot. Boy, it's been a while since I've dusted. Flick on the lights. Bulb pops. This is not a happy time right now. I walk into my condo, throw the mail on the counter, walk over to the fridge and open it up, immediately shut it before I puke. It is disgusting. I walk over to the couch. I flop down, grab the remote, turn on the TV.
Sports Center.
Flip it to my favorite channel, HGTV.
All right. And as night approaches, Dan, go ahead and describe your homecoming.
So they drop me off in front of the gates. It takes me a couple of tries to remember the code to get in because it's been a while. But, you know, as per usual, as per Chuck, the code was just 2345. So the gates slowly swing open. I saunter on up the drive, open the front door, and yell, "Lucy, I'm home! And I think you've got some splaining to do." And I sit there for a second waiting to see if I hear anything.
All right, we'll cut it there. And we'll launch into our cliffhangers. All right.
And Sports Center was evil.
All right, Jack. Night arrives swiftly. You fall asleep, oddly, with very little trouble, dreaming of soft wind blowing through fragrant sugarcane. A bright, hot sun burns overhead. Wet grass yields beneath your bare feet as you walk along a dusty road. The sound of cicadas buzzing incessantly fills your ears. Slowly, you awaken in the dead of night to realize the sound does not dissipate. In fact, you realize it isn't buzzing at all, but rather a kind of rattling noise. That's when you feel a heavy, scaly mass slither by your leg. Your heart seems to go cold as you peer down to see a 6-foot rattlesnake coiled near your feet. Dan. Night comes slowly. You're too restless to sleep. You can't help but think about what Agent Akeley said about Samantha's disappearance. How does this tie into what you witnessed in Leland when Samantha's voice came out of Roy's mouth? What might Roy know about Samantha missing? You need clues, and there's only one place you can think to look. As you quietly pad down the staircase toward the study, you hear something down the hall. Perhaps the lamp on the desk fall and break on the floor. Roy. Night creeps in like fog drifting over a moor. Everyone else has gone to bed, but you can't sleep. You're sitting in your favorite chair, awash in the glow of the boob tube, watching reruns of the Home Shopping Network, where they're hawking the newest models of screen doors. Finally, a drowsiness washes over you, and you feel your chin touch your chest. The remote slips from your hands, hits the floor, and luckily punches the button to make the TV go off. That took you long enough. Let me try this again. That took you long enough, Samantha's voice echoes in your slumbering mind. Now listen up. There isn't much time and we need to get busy. And that's where we're going to call it. Tune in next time for more of Chapter 6, The Big Uneasy.
Will Batman get out of the trap?
Will Dan
Will
get
Robin help
jealous
him?
of me? Will Dan get jealous of Sam and Roy's new relationship?
All right. Do we like where this is going so far?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, then I guess I'll keep writing it.
Let's end the scenario now.
That was good.
And that's it.
And
All right,
scene.
roll for your skill checks.
All right.
I failed my spot hidden.
I will warn you for, I believe it was Brian's request for more combat.
All of ours.
So
It was not.
get
That's a lie.
ready.
Oh, stop.
All right.
Don't make me come in there.
It is time for our recommendos. And who wants to go first?
I do.
All right, Brian.
Oh, not today.
Okay.
I'm recommending a video game.
Hey.
Matt. This game, I only bought it because they had the Microsoft sale on Xbox, and it was $5. It's called Valley. The story alone, you really can't describe it too much. It's a first-person exploration game. But you can't describe it to where you'll give anything away if you try to give too much information. So it's an extremely well-written story that unfolds in ways that I didn't expect, which is rare because I play a lot of games. I've watched a lot of anime. I've been around a bit. And this game, it really blew me away. I'm a completionist when I play games, and I could not complete everything. So I still have it ready to go back and play again and again and again and again. But the story, it just the way it unfolded, really, it was refreshing. So I highly recommend checking it out. I think without the sale, it's only $20. It's called Valley. Really, really well done. Please check it out. It's good. I actually liked it so much I bought a copy for my brother and sent it to him as a gift.
Yep.
He said it was horrible. Don't ever play this game.
Oh.
I'm enjoying it as well. I think.
Oh, you haven't finished it yet?
No, I have not finished it. I just haven't had time, but I did get quite a ways through it, and it's very cool. I just love the dynamics, the gameplay, and it has a very sort of innocent vibe to it. What I think what I like about it most is that it's not super combat heavy.
Right.
Although there are dangers that you need to ward off. They don't come into play until you're so far into the game that you've already sort of started to master some of the skills, and it is. I think I described it to you guys as sort of like Fallout meets like, I don't know, some sort of adventure wilderness thing, like almost like Skyrim. Skyrim meets Fallout.
Firewatch. I got a
Firewatch,
little bit
yeah.
of like Firewatch in Skyrim, and it had, I don't know. It was
It's
really
a cool
good.
game. Yeah,
I
and
thought about it
recommend.
a month after playing it. I still thought back about it
Yeah,
in the story and everything.
it's great.
So.
All right, cool. I'll go next, and I'm going to recommend the 2017 horror film directed by David Bruckner called The Ritual. It is a Netflix exclusive. It was a UK-produced movie that Netflix bought the US distribution rights for. Although if you're in the UK, you could probably see it on the big screen. Here, you can tune it into Netflix immediately. It tells the tale of four middle-aged friends who decide to hike in the wilderness of the Swedish mountains after their fifth friend has been killed in a brutal robbery gone wrong. And it's quite brutal how he gets killed. And I'm not giving anything away because this happens in the first 5 minutes. Unfortunately, these four surviving friends decided to take a shortcut through a forest. And unfortunately, that forest hides an ancient secret. I won't give it away, but it is presented in such a way that there's no humor. This isn't a funny film at all. It's very straight-faced. It tells a compelling story of survivor's guilt. One of the surviving members was actually there to witness the friend's murder during the robbery, and he feels greatly responsible, and all of the friends more or less kind of blame him for the death. So there's a lot of emotional baggage going on there that is really compelling. They do a good job with that. The cinematography is beautiful. They're showing all these glorious mountains in Sweden. And once they get into the forest, then it goes quickly to a horror movie, much like Blair Witch, where they're just basically trying to get out of the forest once they've gone in. But there is excellent creature effects and a surprising injection of Swedish or Norse mythology that I really loved. So if you're
The
looking
Norse
for,
have such a great mythos too.
they do. It's just like creepy. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to watch it again because I think it's good enough to. It's not so gory that you couldn't have other family members or non-horror people watch it. It's just very compelling and highly recommended. The Ritual from 2017.
Very nice.
All right, how about you, Gabe?
Okay, so this one has some spite behind it. I'm gonna do a video game.
Called Valley.
Yeah, it's called Valley. No, so this is a game that I've seen get like crucified, and I don't know. I think the people who crucified are just whiny people who haven't actually played it. So the big controversy is the loot box system, except for the fact that you don't need a loot box system to beat the game. It's just play the freaking game, and you can actually win it. It's Middle-earth: Shadow of War. The big controversy isn't. They say in the fourth act you basically have to buy the win, but here's a pro tip for you if you decide to play this game: use the fight pits. But so it's if you played the first one, it's an expansion on that, and if you didn't, you are a ranger that's like morphed with the soul of a wraith, a Celebrimbor, if you're familiar with the Middle-earth mythos. And you're basically trying to gather an army and defeat Sauron and take over Mordor. And it's Mordor, but sorts of Middle-earth too. And it's a lot of fun. Even before the fourth act, which is the big controversy, I had about 20 hours of gameplay. So even if you don't want to do the fourth act, because I will admit it's a bit tedious and the payoff isn't exactly worth it, but I had fun doing it because it's a series of castle raids, which I could see that being tedious, but I enjoyed the game thoroughly, so I didn't have a problem doing it. But even before that, you have 20 hours plus if you want to make it that of gameplay. And I think the biggest selling point, which it was in the first game too, is their Nemesis system, in which you fight these captain orcs and they'll adapt They'll learn how to combat your fighting. Some of them, if they kill you, they'll grow stronger. If you kill them, they might come back over and over and over and over again, just getting more degraded every time they come back, begging you to kill them, but they just can't die. And they'll make references. They'll be like, "Oh, I murdered your wife. What's up?" It's like, some of it is really funny, actually. There's one guy who wanted to cut my skin up and use it as bandages for the wounds that I've inflicted upon him.
Oh.
So, and some of them can even get creepy. It's such a vast array of Nemesis System. The Nemesis System is so vast that you can get hundreds of thousands of options, different looking orcs. The only thing that really overlaps is names. But beyond that, you can take these orcs, put them into your army, make them run your castles, defend the castles, all while you're trying to overtake Sauron, growing your army all the whole time. So it's a really good game. It's been out for a little while, so even if even if Act 4, I have to get a loot box because I don't like playing the game, offends you that deeply, it's like 50% of what you would have paid, so I think that that's fair. So just don't discount this game for what was said about that. It's excellent, even if you want to quit once you get there. It's worth your time, and it's an excellent game.
Cool.
All right, great. And that was Shadow of Mordor?
It's Middle-earth Shadow of War.
Shadow of War.
It's the sequel to
Shadow of Mordor was the original.
Yeah, which you should play that as well, but
I've played Shadow of Mordor. It's great.
Yeah, it's great, but you don't really need to play it to play War.
Can I buy the first game so I don't have to play it? Then I can just play the second game? Like with a crate? Yeah. Can I get a crate to cover the first game?
Yeah.
The first game will fit in a crate. So.
Oh.
All right, thank you, Gabe. And how about you, Matt?
Well, since everyone seems to be stepping all up in my territory today, I guess I'm going to have to step things up. So we're going to make this a 2-for-1, I guess, because I have a game, but I guess I can promote something else while I'm here. So the first part of this...
2-for-1. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, audio podcast. First part of this is going to be a piece of hardware. So everyone who's anyone in the gaming world and even outside of it knows who Nintendo is. Huge icons, and they're responsible for Mario and Yoshi and Kirby and Donkey Kong. Well, not too long ago, they released their latest piece of hardware, which is the Nintendo Switch. Which I've had an eye on for a long time, and I finally, with a little bit of extra cash, managed to grab one. And despite the worries that I had about it, the size of it, being a part portable system, battery life, and resolution, I'm incredibly surprised at how well made this thing is. Not only is it, for its size, it's incredibly light. It looks big, but it's no pain whatsoever to use in handheld mode. I don't feel like my arms get tired after holding it up for a while. I can get easily 2.5 hours of battery life of just straight play out of this thing before it needs to be charged again. And just they have a lot of really neat built-in features. The little controllers on the side are called Joy-Cons. And they have something that they call HD Rumble, which gives multiple motors up and down the whole thing. So when something happens, it's really great because you can get a better feeling for what's going on. And it's a really great system in a really small package that I love, because not only can you take it with you anywhere, but you can play it on your big screen as well by putting it into the dock, is what they call it. And it displays up on your TV like it's a full console, like an Xbox or a PlayStation. And why I'm not telling you to get the Switch, the one thing you should get with your Switch is a game called The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. It's the newest entry into the Zelda series, and I've played the older ones. I've run through Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, the original Legend of Zelda, and I just really love Breath of the Wild, not only because it's a more modern take on the series, but because the whole premise of it is just flat exploration. In Breath of the Wild, they take you through a short tutorial, run you through a tutorial area, and from there literally let go of you and say, hey, go do whatever the fuck you want. We're not going to stop you. You can literally finish the tutorial and walk straight into the final boss fight of the game, and they're not going to say, don't do that. So you have total freedom to roam this gigantic world, to meet people, talk to them, complete quests, level up, whatever you want. And it's just such an incredible gameplay loop to have that freedom, because it allows you to make your own story.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to decide, I want to go, all the way to all four corners of the map, you can do that. And along the way, you'll find people and you'll find quests and always have things to do. And it's just such an engaging game that I honestly have a very, very hard time putting it down whenever I pick it up.
Yeah, I had to wrestle him just so we could play Mario Kart together.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestle.
A lot of oil.
Hey, that's my thing.
Aha!
All right. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Lovecraft Tapes. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, Podbean, Stitcher, or anywhere you download your regular podcasts. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review. Meanwhile, you can find us at thelovecrafttapes.com with links to all our recommendos and social media channels, including Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, and our Discord server, where you can chat with us in real time. You can find me on Twitter at Lovecraft Tapes.
And if anybody knows how to get that really nice FBI agent a fruit basket, let me know on Twitter at TheRealWeirdKid.
And if you want to get the really nice FBI agent a fruit basket, you can find me at Lovecraft Gabe.
If you want to get the guy that interviewed me, fruit basket, screw it. You can find me at Brian Podcast on Twitter.
Until next time, roll for sanity.
If you want.
If you want to. You don't have to. All right, go ahead and hit... I'm going to stop the stream.